I can tell you right now how to turn Twitter into a genuine free speech platform. SpaceX and Tesla founder Elon Musk bought a 9% stake in Twitter, and somebody get me a bar of soap because I'm going to bathe in leftist tears. Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott, and this is Right Angle, brought to you by the best people in the world, the members of BillWhittle.com. Oh, and you know what? Before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to do me just one small little tiny favor. Whatever video platform you're watching this on, if there's a little notification bell or one of those little love hearts or a 5-star thing or a thumbs up, click one of those. Hell, click them all. Go to the different sites. Just click them all. It helps us. It really does. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. So, gentlemen, on Monday morning of this week, Elon Musk announced that he'd taken a $3 billion stake in Twitter, and shares shot up over 25% on the news. Last I saw, they were up an additional 6% on Tuesday, and I'm going to get to that part in just a moment. But first, I want to read to you some of the reactions on Twitter from Twitter employees. These are those leftist tears that I'll be bathing in later. Let's see. Haraldur Thorleifsson. Well, his Norwegian names can be tough. I apologize. Who directs creative services for Twitter, states his dislike for Elon Musk after the billionaire became the company's largest stakeholder. That's from journalist Annie Ngo. Elon Musk just temporarily, at least, made me a lot of money, and I still dislike him. Oh, get over it.
Didn't return the money, though, did you?
Of course not. Let's see. Where do we go here? Let's see. Creme de Cassie, not her real name, I assume, says a prominent transphobe buying a large stake in Twitter is not at all funny. I'm honestly kind of terrified right now. And then with a little teary face emoji, because that's how you take things seriously these days. Let's see. Gerard Taylor is a senior software engineer at Twitter, and he says, my current sentiment, stock is way up, yay, but what about our company culture? You know, that toxic culture. No, looks like I picked a good week to be off, says Jerry Kidd, a recruiting manager for Twitter. And my absolute favorite, Jackson Mulholland, says, I'm one of many people here working at Twitter in charge of developing terms and conditions for users. We're not stripping away free speech. We're protecting users from bullies, bigots, and spam. I refuse to work with or for Elon Musk. I'm resigning. Now, that was on Monday. I went to his account again on Tuesday as we're taping this, and I can't see any evidence that he's actually resigned from Twitter, although he did get into a Twitter fight with Caitlyn Jenner, of all people, who says this is a great day for Twitter.
Noted transphobe Caitlyn Jenner? Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, famous transphobe Caitlyn Jenner. Bill, what are they so upset or even scared about?
Well, where do we begin? I know where I'd like to begin. The reason Elon Musk is putting so much effort, time, and passion into going to Mars is to get away from these people. And that's why I want to go. I just want to make it known publicly right now. I will shovel manure on Mars if you can get me away from these people. I really will. I'd be happy to. I'd be a happy man. They're terrified because of the bubble that they live in, the bubble of their own creation. It's like a hurricane in warm water. The more it spins around, the stronger it gets, right? These are people who genuinely, apparently anyway, genuinely believe that they're protecting society from the rapacious designs of all the transphobes out there and billionaires. What we really want to do is we want to use transphobes. We want to use trans people as rocket fuel to get us to Mars. And that's why we're rounding up so many of them and taking them off to processing centers. This is what they believe, though, Steve. And when one of these clowns says, I'm protecting people, my terms of, I write the things that allow us to protect people from bullies and all the rest of it is that's a noble sentiment there, Sonny. But the problem with your theory is, who gets to decide what's a bully and who gets to decide what's hateful? Everything you guys do is hateful to me, and I think you're bullying the entire world into your own political beliefs. I don't have any desire to silence you because I am the guy responsible for the principles that you're trying to destroy that allowed you to get the job in the first place. See how that works?
Yeah. Yeah, well works. Although, Bill, I have to just give you a quick little follow-up. It's not even really a question, more of a statement. The only change that Elon Musk has even indicated that he wants to bring to Twitter is to include an edit function.
An edit function?
An edit
What does
function.
that do?
So you can go back and correct that embarrassing typo after you post something.
An edit function is the end of Twitter because because if you could go back and correct a tweet, all of the really juicy stuff that ends up on Twitter because it's spur of the moment reaction, gets taken away. How many people have you seen delete their entire accounts because they tweeted something they actually thought and then they realized, apparently this isn't going over as well as I thought.
Yeah. I don't think they should install an anti-Covfefe button.
That is part of the fun. When I used to enjoy Twitter before it got all infested with bots and the woke mob, it was a lot of fun. It was because of that spontaneity. And I put up a lot of embarrassing typos. What are you going to do? I don't know. Give me an edit button. Scott, on Tuesday, the day we're taping this, Tuesday morning, it was announced by Twitter that they were bringing their new biggest shareholder, Elon Musk, onto the board of directors. Now, it's a position worth somewhere probably between $300,000 and $500,000 a year, which is not even pocket change to Elon Musk, who just blew $3 billion on Twitter shares. What do you think that the Twitter board was up to, bringing their sworn enemy onto the board?
Well, there's that old saying that you keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and there may be an element of truth to that. The CEO of Twitter announced that they were excited to have a prominent critic of Twitter on the company board because they certainly encouraged that kind of interaction. I thought it was interesting that the responses that you wrote, how quickly people were able to leap to conclusions about, the outcome of such a decision from, Elon Musk buys a bunch of stock, they find out about it, and 5 minutes later, they've already decided, one guy making, a career-ending mistake immediately. Just I think the culture of Twitter must have fostered that kind of, hey, don't think too much, just get it out there. Just say whatever it is that first comes to your mind, because that's what Twitter fosters. And, it's something where I rarely see #prudence, trending on Twitter. Just doesn't happen that much. The other thing is the guy who was the recruiting manager. The recruiting manager is bad-mouthing his own company on Twitter. That's got to be good for business, especially his business. Maybe it was this way back in the day, Steve, when you were very active in it, but I have long since given up the idea that I would go to Twitter to get happy. I mean, I can't remember the last time that I was like, hey, I'm feeling a little blue. I think I'll go to Twitter to cheer me up about the state of mankind. So anyway, the only thing that I think is bad about this really is, Elon Musk just bought 73 million shares of Twitter with $3 billion that could have built a bowling alley on Mars. And I just think that there are better uses to put that $3 billion to than buying Twitter stock. Jack Dorsey, who was a co-founder of Twitter and still a major shareholder, actually does not have as much stock as Elon Musk does, which is, I think, a fascinating turn of events. So what was that name that you used, Bill, to refer to people like Jack Dorsey? No, it's a nickname.
Wingies?
No, yeah, but there's a nickname that having to do with, it'll come to me after the show's over.
Beard farmer.
Yeah, those of you who already know, Trevor something. Anyway, so he's got to be a little bit uncomfortable with this. I think it's going to be helpful for Twitter to have somebody who's actually a critic, not just of the fact that Twitter doesn't make money on the board. And there are enough of those critics on there who are complaining that they've created something that is popular among a pretty good chunk of users, not near what Facebook has, but still haven't found a way to monetize that effectively. And now they got a guy who comes in who actually thinks that it's supposed to be a free speech platform. Crazy idea. We'll see. My prediction is that what Bill suggested earlier is that Elon will excuse himself from the board at some point in the not too distant future. He's clearly not doing it to make money. I don't think that he thinks of his investments like this as a way to parlay his fortune into a fortune.
Can I just add something to that?
Yeah, please.
So many of the problems out there now, and assaults on freedom of speech and so on, are caused by these crazed tech billionaires, and Elon Musk is also a crazed tech billionaire. Mm-hmm. He's just our crazed tech billionaire, and that's an important distinction. The guy actually complains about the loss of free speech. He seems to get this stuff in a way that nobody else in that position is getting it. That's what makes the guy remarkable for me.
Well, and I hope this doesn't become a distraction for him. I know that he's already juggling, he's running the Boring Company, he's running SpaceX, he's running Tesla, he's running the solar cell company, and who knows what else. So I guess he has an unlimited capacity to take on things like this. But the reason why I think of Elon Musk as my billionaire is not because of what he says on social media. It's because of what he actually does, shipping 1 million Teslas, launching a Starship, those kind of things.
I think there's something very personal going on here for Elon Musk, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. This occurred to me when we were taping the backstage meeting segment for our BillWhittle.com members earlier today, and that is, Elon Musk has to be thinking that if it hadn't been for social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, Donald Trump might still be president today. And I don't know if politically if Elon Musk is much of a conservative at all. I don't think he was a Republican. But Musk has to know that if Trump were still president, Musk probably would have been able to launch Starship by now, because the FAA wouldn't be dragging its feet on doing the environmental paperwork down in Texas, where Elon wants to launch Starship. And that is costing him time not money, costing him the time that he cannot afford if he wants to die peacefully someday on Mars. And that's got to rankle, because those social media platforms like Twitter killed the laptop from hell story, and that helped swing the election. They rigged it. Well, far be it for me to offer advice to Elon Musk, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. I can tell you right now how to turn Twitter into a genuine free speech platform, and it's actually pretty easy. I used to love the place when it was much smaller, but it's been infested by bots and crap posters. I cleaned that up a little bit, and all the things that have made Twitter such a toxic environment. Well, the people who really need Twitter They tend to be journalists, thought leaders, all that kind of thing, who can afford, say, a $5 a month subscription. And one business analyst, whose name escapes me, actually said that if Twitter were to lose a third or even half of its users after going to a subscription model at $4 a month, they would still make more money than they're making today on today's model. And going to a subscription model, even if it's just $4 or $5 a month, would eliminate the bots. It would eliminate the trolls. It would eliminate most of the crap posters. And then you wouldn't have to worry about all of this misinformation or fake news, because only the people who actually had something to say worth their own money to say would be on the platform. And I'll tell you right now, I would pay $5 a month for that. I might even pay more. So, Mr. Musk, if by some small chance you're listening to this, you got a seat on the board. Let's make the changes, all right? That's your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time, unless Twitter shuts us up.